Looking across many indicators, the labor market appears to be broadly in balance and not a significant source of inflationary pressure. This morning's job.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. So on this live stream, in the first couple minutes, we're actually going to be covering Jerome Powell's speech here at this conference that is happening in Virginia. So we are going to be covering this actually right now because this is the conversation, the topic of discussion. We believe that Trump is playing some 4D chess right now, and we're going to show you some of the tweet here and also give you some of the live coverage of Jerome Powell speaking on the stock market, inflation, interest rates, and possible pressure for multiple rate cuts for the federal funding rate. So then that money printer's about to go burr, baby. And I wonder why the stock market crashed so bad, because then they can buy that baby up. So Trump on Truth Social said this would be a perfect time for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. He is always late, but he could now change his image and quickly. Energy prices are down, interest rates are down, inflation is down, even eggs are down 69%, and jobs are up all within 2 months. So it's a big win for America. Cut interest rates, Jerome, and stop playing the politics. All right, so let's actually start to listen to Jerome Powell right now.
Well anchored and consistent with our 2% inflation goal. We remain committed to returning inflation sustainably to our 2% objective. Turning to monetary policy, we face a highly uncertain outlook with elevated risks of both higher unemployment and higher inflation. The new administration is in the process of policy changes in 4 distinct areas: trade, immigration, fiscal policy, and regulation. Our monetary policy stance is well positioned to deal with the risks and uncertainties we face as we gain a better understanding of the policy changes and their likely effects on the economy. It is not our role to comment on those policies. Assessment of their likely effects, observe the behavior of the economy, and set monetary policy in a way that best achieves our dual mandate goals. We have stressed that it will be very difficult to assess the likely economic effects of higher tariffs until there is greater certainty about the details.
If you're just coming in, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.
Duration, and the extent of any retaliation from our trading partners. While uncertainty remains elevated, it is now becoming clear that tariff increases will be significantly larger than expected. And the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth. The size and duration of these effects remains uncertain. While tariffs are highly likely to generate at least a temporary rise in inflation, it's also possible that the effects could be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome would depend on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored, on the size of the effects, and on how long it takes for them to pass through fully to prices. Our obligation is to keep longer-term inflation expectations well anchored, and to make certain that a one-time increase in the price level does not become an ongoing inflation problem. We'll continue to carefully monitor
pumping right now.
Data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We're well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. It is too soon to say what will be the appropriate path for monetary policy. We understand the benefits of a solid economy where workers can find jobs and inflation is low and predictable. We also understand that elevated levels of unemployment or inflation can be damaging and painful for communities, families, and businesses. That is why we at the Fed will continue to do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Feels like quite a moment to be speaking with you. I want to thank you for your time. He's got it. I want to thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to speak with this group of business journalists. Also like to give a special thanks to Heather.
The sound is so low. All right, well, that's all fine and good. That's all boring. All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. So, I think what Jerome Powell is signaling that he's like, look, you know, we are going to have to still see what happens, which is what they kind of always do. They're very late. They're like, we need to see how the markets turn out. We need to see how we're still kicking the can down the road. And ultimately, it just seems like they're eventually going to cut the rates. They're having massive pressure being put on them. So you don't really have to analyze it too much. It seems like if everything lines up perfectly with all the macro events and the pressure to start to pivot into going into risk on now, where we're going into better economic certainty. I think in the United States, it seems like it's uncertain, but I feel like how the media is covering everything, like it's going to be disastrous, like it's going to hurt, small businesses, it's going to do all this stuff. But I feel like because of the way that everything has been running, that we're being gaslit to think that going into the tariffs and trying to get more of the jobs and the growth in America is a bad thing. So it's really interesting. It's really weird. But I think ultimately we're going to see a positive outcome. It looks bad. Like, it looks bad on the surface. But all the while, the stock market, the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ, all down 3.5%, 4%. Crypto is actually holding fairly strong. So this is a good sign. This is a good sign that crypto is actually holding pretty resilient through this volatility of the tariffs and the stock market losing a massive amount of value. I think the stock market actually lost like $4 trillion of value over the past couple months. So this is, it's ultimately bringing uncertainty, of course, across the markets. But I don't know, guys. We just have to have patience. I guess the biggest thing right now is to just try and have some patience. And we need to be learning. We need to be building stuff and not losing focus. Because right now would be the perfect time to lock in instead of getting shaken out. Wouldn't you agree? I would agree with that. But we're trying to get our brain going. We're trying to get going. So hopefully you guys are doing well, feeling well. We started a little bit late. Usually we start at 11 o'clock, but we had to run a couple errands. All right, so let's go into how we think Trump is playing some 4D chess here. I liked this video.
But he's doing it on purpose. And this is why Warren Buffett just said Trump is making the best economic moves he's seen in over 50 years. Now, here's the secret game he's playing, and it could make you rich. So why is he doing this? To push cash into treasuries, which forces the Fed to slash interest rates in May, and those lower rates give the Fed the ability to refinance trillions of debt very inexpensively. It also weakens the dollar and drops mortgage rates. Now, it's a wild chess move, but it's working. Now, you're probably wondering, what about his tariffs? Well, I'll tell you, it's a genius play. It actually forces companies to build here to dodge them. It also forces farmers to sell more of their products here in the US to bring grocery prices way down. We've already seen this with eggs. Now, remember, 94% of all stocks are owned only by 8% of Americans. So Trump, he's taking from the rich short term and handing it to the middle class through lower prices.
When it was broken down very quickly like that in just 1 minute, I was like, damn, that does make sense. That makes good sense. All right, so with that observation, I wanted to ask Grok. I was curious what Grok thought about what is a good long or short opportunity right now. And long opportunities for tech and AI stocks, energy stocks, especially the ones that are going to be primarily dominant USA energy stocks, and then gold and precious metals. We've talked about how gold can still tick up and break over $3,600, possibly even getting to 4K here sooner than later. And then silver is lagging, and silver could be breaking out past between a range of $50 to $60 per ounce on silver. And so think gold has gotten all the attention, but no one's talked about silver. So it makes sense that, like, okay, that might be a good precious metal play, because then that is, pretty, I would say a fairly stable 80% return over the next year if what I am talking about actually plays out. The short opportunities would be possible overvalued stocks, consumer, discretionary, and then bonds. Rising yields and falling bond prices could tempt shorts, especially if central banks signal maybe a tighter policy. And so let's see. That was just for kind of just the macro stock for the stock market. And so for best long and short opportunities in crypto today, so we're seeing that, Solana's actually doing really well. Solana bottomed at that like 113, 112. That was that previous support area that we hit on a bottom, I believe. Was it? Yeah, towards the beginning of March, it was like right there, 112. So this was a key support lever. Was saying, look, if they want to bring Sol as low as that would be about the spot that they'd like to bring it, because of the offshore winter mute deal that's going on with Coinbase and Binance. They're just swinging that Sol around. They're selling it and spot buying at the bottom here at 112, and then rinse and repeating it right back up into this spot here, this 130, between 130 and 145. And they did it a few times here as well. Boom, brought it here, sold here, brought it right back down in this purple range. So this area right now for Sol is really, really, really key support from 121 and also from below this range. So maybe we could probably, we can bring that down a little bit here. So now this range is extended, because this seems like where price loves to get a magnet for Sol is 114, 113, 112, and then up to, 124. So looks like if Sol is able and has been able to, from 1, 2, 3, 4 points of bouncing on these particular ranges, then this could be a good sign to possibly be longing Sol right now, back up into the same areas where we've had these resistance points with a measured move. You think even pulling a 3% move back to the upside from its current range lows, low leverage, or even just spot buying from these spots here and waiting and having some patience when we possibly, get back. It's not guaranteed, but you get back to all-time highs, get close to the 280s again. That's 133% move to the upside. So if you have patience and you're able to get in a pretty decent, bottomed range here, Sol is a good play right now. So bullish Sol. And then Ethereum kind of is in that similar range right now, where it's gotten as low as its 2023 low. So Ethereum ranging around in this box here. This was the 2023 low, was that 1500. We were all just thinking, oh God, if we went there, it would really hurt. I know a lot of the altcoins would hurt. Some of the, the coins that are ERC20 tokens, even the strong liquidity tokens would take a big hit. If we're at a $1,500 ETH, then that means I think everything else would probably down at that point, because that would be that something's happening, something happened, something's wrong. 15%, crash on ETH. But has ETH finally, as Benjamin Cohen said, hit home and has found a bottom somewhere, has found a bottom somewhere. This could be it. If you're looking on the 4-hour, we do have a double bottom here. 1, 2, got 1 and a 2 here. That could signify a final push that can get us out of this mess. I mean, if you look at Ethereum, it's just terrible. You look at the monthly candles, I think, how many monthly red monthly candles or white candles in our case? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 red, white candles. That's an abomination. That is just a this can't go on forever. I mean, this can't go on for too long. But is ETH's destination still knocking on the door of these ranges right here? Only time will tell. But something that does signify a bullish sentiment and liquidity going towards ETH is that the Trump administration is bullish ETH. World Liberty Financial, the Trump Family Protocol is bullish ETH. Institutions that are wanting to build the dApps and protocols and the software that their banks or whatever their hedge funds or whatever their thing they need to build, they're most likely going to pick Ethereum. At least that's just my bet. So this is why even at 1,700, it's super, super cheap. And I think it's massively undervalued. So we just are also we're all in this club here wanting ETH to move and do well. So that's a, pretty, decent long opportunity as well. So, Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, obvious choices for some long opportunities. And then for short opportunities, it says BNB, Bearchain, and also Bitcoin. If you're thinking on more of the bearish side, that we test those range lows below 81,000. This was still key support levels at 79, 78,000. So we'll go into those levels real quick. So here's that 80,000 too. And then also this 79 right here. Reason why, you can see here on the 4-hour, right here is where, and also 76 is where we had a really nice wick down. Look at that, scammy wick, another scammy wick. Been seeing a lot of these scam wicks here. So if that was the bounce from 81 and that was our support, then we could be potentially eyeing, these tested levels here again at 88,000, 88.6, tested up pretty well right here, 1, 2. But we have a lot of resistance that we have to break here at 85.4. 85.4 has some nasty resistance. That's a key level right here between these ranges, 84, 85. If we can hold that, then, and we got volume. The stock market is just looks like trash, but at the same time, then crypto's looking pretty good. That might actually push more bullish sentiment into Bitcoin for its resilience amidst all of the volatility. That could be the case for all the Bitcoiners out there right now, is that, hey, whilst the stock market is reacting like it is, we have, is that what's coming in? Powell's not going to cut rates? I don't know. We stopped listening because it's, they're going to cut the rates. They're going to cut the rates. They have to at a point. Like there's really no choice. I don't think the interest can just continue to be as high as it has been, and the damage that it did cause over the past 4 years was atrocious. I mean, the average American family, expense went up thousands of dollars, not just like a couple hundred. It went up like $2,000 to $3,000 per family. Families had to figure out how to make an extra $3,000 a month. Just almost out of nowhere. Like, it was almost like, literally almost overnight, there seemed to have been a shift, and then everything became expensive as hell. and then all of a sudden it was just, woo, it felt like that, but it probably was a lead up, and then people that were caught off guard got hit the hard. I mean, we're just not expecting it, got hit hard. Like, maybe, yeah, it's just, that's the reality. So the rates have to change. I mean, they have to. I mean, it's like there's no choice. Like, there is no choice. All right, so let's go to the Fed interest rates. Just a USA interest rates. There we go. I think this, let me see if this one is I like the one that actually puts it on. Let's see, interest rates. Let's see, central bank interest rates. Yeah, this is the one I want to look at. This might work. We'll see about this one. Yeah, this is very interesting to see here. And it took a bit because of the bottoming of all these interest rates here. Okay. Let's check this. So the last two, let's go to the weekly. That might make this a little bit easier to analyze here. Okay. So let's full screen this and let's look at this together here. Okay, so we have let's just say even just the overall interest rates from 2020, or let's just say every time we've had lower interest rates, we've gone into a boom. Because you can see here where we kind of bottomed, where all interest rates were fairly low. Then we boomed. And then after they started raising it a little bit, we went into a bit of a downturn. And then from here, they lowered them again. And then we went into a bull market, like a bull run. Here they raised them. It goes down. And then you can see here in COVID, everything just flatlined, and they printed the most money they've ever printed in history during this time. And then everyone rose their interest rates from central banks. And you can see we haven't seen this. We haven't seen the banana zone until we're not going to, I think when we're going to see this, and similar, just like this right here, but it takes interest. The interest has to look like how it did here and here and here. So that's the point. So you can see here, interest rates low, run. Interest rates low, relatively, run. Interest rates fully flatlined almost at zero, run. Interest rates at a point where they get here in towards the end of the year, flatlined, run. And so I think the true bull case here is that from these levels we'll crush towards the end of the year and hit around between $250,000 and $400,000 per Bitcoin. And this is just going off of macro trends of how the interest rates and just across the board have reacted to monetary policy dictated by the feds. So put a one in the chat if you liked that breakdown. Okay, so right now, let's go into the cryptoverse. So let's go into the cryptoverse and see the crypto heat map. I want to see how the heat map's looking right now for the hour. Bitcoin is at 82,500. Is that the... Nope, it's at 83, so... Everything up. Let's go to the crypto bubbles. Actually, go to the 5 minute, or go to the daily. All right, coins on the daily in the top 100. We can see Grass is up 24%. I think that's like an AI. I think that's an AI play. Jupiter's up 8%. We have we got Cosmos. Haven't seen Cosmos make a move out of all the OG altcoins. So Cosmos is up 16%. And we have XRP is up 7%. We have Sonic Labs up 10%. Let's see what else. Look at Hex is up 9%. Looking at the ones that are like, the key players here. Doge up 6.7%. Algorand up 10%. So a lot of stuff is still on a discount. We haven't seen the true altcoin season that people are calling for. We're in the camp that we are still going to have an altcoin season, but it has some factors that have to play out that just make sense. If you look at ETH and when ETH has historically just like made some moves, then that's when we get an altcoin season. When we get the dominance on Bitcoin going down and we have ETH going up, we also have the strength, the Dixie, the strength of the dollar going down as well. That's also a great inverse correlation of just going more risk on in general, not even just with crypto, but just with stocks. And so look, we've been charting this. We've charted the Dixie for a while, and we believe that the inverse correlation between these things is very important. It actually might be the strongest TA that you could do is correlate the interest rates, okay, with the strength of the dollar. Look at when the interest rates started to climb up, and look at when interest rates have always been up past on the high side. You see here 2.5. You see up here 5. And that's when the dollar starts gaining strength. But then when we're at basically those where they start to lower those rates, we get the dollar losing strength. So eventually, I think if we combined all of these things together, we have bullish momentum on Ethereum. We have Bitcoin dominance going down. We have the feds cutting the rates. We have money supply going up, and that's going to be also equated to the stable coin liquidity going up and more stable coins being minted and liquidity going into these chains. That's going to increase the total crypto market cap really fast. And then a lot of those stable coins are going to end up going into Bitcoin. A lot of people companies are going to start acquiring the Bitcoin and holding stuff on chain along with the stable coins. This is going to basically make this Dixie go down. Then if everything lines up, it doesn't have to line up perfectly, but even if just all of these things are at play going into the next 6 months towards the end of the year, then this is how we will get our 500% moves, our however, moves to the upside, because we have seen them in 2024 when we had all those things. Not everything was lined up like that, but we even just had two of those things. Bitcoin dominance went down, ETH went up. 2 catalysts, that's all it took for something like Floki to go up 1,000% or for Pepe to go up 400%. So just from those 2 signals, we got a pre-altcoin season. So imagine all 4 of these things happening, interest rates being cut, money supply goes up, the Fed's ease and actually are already going into the QE, the quantitative easing instead of tightening. You see it across the board around the world, not just for our central banks, but the central banks around the world. The focus is going to then also be on Bitcoin. So it's just like all of these things will line up for then our precious altcoins to finally start to pump. But we have to hold through the volatility. We have to hold through these just god-awful times. But as long as you know that when these things flash, when you have these things flashing in your face, all of these macro trends, they really do make sense. I mean, look at this. Every time we've had low interest, we've gone into a bull run. That's with the stock market, and also because you could put this and add on. Here's, okay, yeah. Do I go same percentage scale or a new pane? Oh, no. There we go. So you can see here, same correlation. That's the federal funding rate. And then we can go into the Russell here. We'll do this. We'll add the Russell. Look, this is the Russell is basically a representation of the stock market, and they just follow each other. So all we need to do is just not do so much and just know that this is the macro trend. If you just play the macro trend, you probably would get less chopped up, I would say. Like, I think you're less chopped in this type of situation. And and this is the weekly chart. So this is like an easy metric to look at. And I would love to be able to, I need to pull this down a little bit. Oh, let me log it. Yeah. I just see so many macro trend things here that can really help us. I mean, look at this. Just basic. Here's the interest rates. They're high. Sideways market, uncertainty. They started to lower them a little bit. They started to get, more dovish. We had the ETF come in to play also. And then that's how we ended up. They inflowed billions of dollars into the ETF along with the curving of the interest rates. This is how I do believe we will get to that spot of the crypto market cap trend line here that's into the cryptoverse, because we've been teasing this fair value support band line. And once we figure out, because you can see here when we've been teasing this support band line here at the bottom, we've tried to touch the green line. What's great is that we've touched the green line in previous cycles. And I think why Plan B's stock to flow model also is so important is because I think we got chopped at the knees here. We had bad actors in the space, and we had really bad actors in the space. We had a lot of stuff bubbling up behind the scenes that we didn't know about. Like we were not expecting all of the crap to happen to us, like the Terra Luna and the capitulations of the exchanges, the bankruptcies. It was just atrocious. I mean, it was bad. I mean, it was like across the board, it was really bad. Okay. So I think that if you look at this, we should have hit 100. We should have hit 100K already, or the market cap of the total crypto market cap being at the upper band being at 6 trillion during that time in 2021. But we ended up at a 2.3, and then ended up at point of 2022 going into the fair value or lower band, almost close to the lower band, being between only above like 1 so trillion total crypto market cap. So look how long we've been just skirting in this trend, in this bottom fair value trend line. If you were to compare how we did and bounced out of it in 2017, I sound like Benjamin Cohen. Welcome to the Cryptoverse. My name is Benjamin Cohen, and today we're going to be discussing how I'm smarter than everyone. All right, but he is though. So if you look at the parabolicness that happened here. It just basically is kind of rhyming a little bit with how we were in 2017 out of the post-halving year, out of 2016. So you see post-halving year in 2025. We got all those macro key indicators like the interest rates going down. We got, we're skirting around these levels, 200 day, 86,000. But then also you can see where we've had those trends and break us through. Oh, go log. Need to fix my... I don't know what happened. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, yeah. There we go. I was like, what happened to my... I needed it to be logarithmic on the daily. So then it has the same... Okay, there we go. There we go. Because I have it in this logged measure. Parabolicness. Yeah, I think today's live stream is great to just be macro, because even though we're getting some bullish movements, like the stock market looks like trash, but the crypto market looks pretty resilient. Things like Pepe are up 5%. Zeus is holding pretty strong at that 31 cents. It bounced nicely off of this previous low of everything kind of crashing a little bit off that 88K Bitcoin. So I'm seeing a trend here. I'm seeing that strong memes are what is going to do really well. So strong memes are going to do well. Good fundamental tech actually is going to do well. We're going to have Solana is bullish. Solana's going to do well. I think crypto gaming is going to do well. Look, I mean, we've got Naka. Naka's doing good. Naka's coming back up in the ranks, but we also have other things in the gaming ecosystem that are popping up. We have that guns token and that marketplace launch with off the grid. So that, and I think the more people start to see these gaming things and these marketplaces become successful, and there's a really good, vibrant, market happening all in this, it's going to make gaming infrastructure tokens pump. So things like Superverse or Gala, Vulcan Forged, anything that Star Atlas is doing. I mean, just, Alluvium. You kind of have to think about those things. It's a completely separate bull run of its own. Separate from Bitcoin, ETH, and all those things. Of course, we do need those to do well, which we know that now as we broke down the macro, that's where the money is going to flow. We broke down the trend. It's an easy trend. There's a few indicators. It's just a couple charts and a couple things that we have to look at. Simple. It really is as simple as look at the crypto total market cap trend line band and look at how the previous cycles acted. Go and break out, pull up the Dixie, go to DXY and go to the weekly. You want to look at it more on the weekly because then you can see where, and I marked spots here, go to the Bitcoin, and then you can look at the Bitcoin futures chart. And you can even go to any Bitcoin chart and then mark that same date. Go to the date. Go to the DXY and go to 2022 right in this area right here and mark and circle it. So then that's exactly when the dollar started to break out and gain strength and go up to 114, the dollar index. The moment that it did that was the moment we went into a bear market and bottomed out at 16,000. Okay. And then from there, November 22, did some interesting things. Then it was just going sideways. But the point, I think when we hit right here is where we're going to have a massive flippening again and the inverse correlation from the Dixie. So then, so you got that. So you do that. And then I want you can use the Bitstamp chart, whatever chart you want. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better. Add the interest rates. Add the interest rates. Where's the freaking Binance chart? Yeah, okay, there we go. Add the interest rates, and then you can just do it from the Binance chart from 2016, 2017. And you go into the weekly and make a purple box from the highs and from the low point after the halvings. It's right here. And you can all you have to do is look at this on the weekly. You can go on the monthly too. That might even make it even easier to see because then you can just look at the monthly chart. So line all those up together and you're going to get your easy macro trading strategy, but it takes patience. And it's hard to have this patience because Crypto Man Rand made a good point. He was like, can you believe that the peak of our portfolios was only 90 days ago? He's like, it feels like forever. I was like, I know, it's wild. It feels like December feels like a year ago. December feels like a year ago already. I'm like, what has even happened? It's like if we could go back, if we could go back in December and January, and then like be able to tell ourselves what's about to happen. Oh my gosh. I know we all would like to do that, right? And what's going on, everyone? Shout out to Emmanuel. Shout out to Stay Calm. Shout out to Lasers. Tony Trump. S. Rodriguez. Shout out to everyone who's tuning in today. Appreciate you. All right, so let's see. Let's see if anything was breaking. All right, so according to Alex Jones, Trump says China has played directly into his hands as a dozen countries announced they're cutting their tariffs down to 0. Marty Party says, in my opinion, TradFi will bleed into blockchain. Yeah, that's we've been saying the same thing too, that the great flippening revolution, renaissance of the dying off of the old archaic TradFi systems are all going to be going into blockchain, which means they're going to be going into stable coins, and that's why the government is all on that stable coins butt with the legislation and the framework and the legal framework and the regulatory framework and all that stuff per state. And if it's going to be, you know, based on the state, or if it's going to be fully federally controlled, there's all these things are going to be coming down the pipe. But all we need to do is just be like, hey, which chain are they going to mint all this trillions of dollars on? ETH? Okay, cool. Buy ETH. Oh, are they gonna be using Bitcoin DeFi primarily on Solana because it's cheaper and faster and they have more Bitcoin? Cool. All right, buy Solana. Simple as that. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Okay, cool. All the biggest gaming ecosystems are starting to use AVAX because of the success of Off the Grid right now. Cool. Buy AVAX under $30. Doge has been the biggest uncovering of financial fraud in history, and then start sending people actual checks from the savings, and then that actually does come down the pipe, and then we eventually pay no income tax. Cool. Doge, okay, buy Dogecoin. Represents the financial revolution of everything in joke form. But we don't have to make it that complicated. I do believe we're going to have the biggest influx of liquidity coming into the cryptocurrency markets, the likes that we've never seen before, according to this chart. Because if we get to the measured move from a bottom right here of hitting that trend line and then going here like we did in 2017, well, my friends, I think in November, December, towards the end of the year, my friends, will be at a $30 trillion market cap. And it's interesting because that lines up perfectly with, if we go to our chart here of the total cryptocurrency market cap, it's exactly where we think it's going to go. 15 trillion Bitcoin, and 7 trillion in stables, you know, probably. And ETH, and so that's going to be with like ETH and all the top 5 chains, and then 4 trillion is going to be everything else: memes, DeFi, NFTs, gaming. I mean, so this is how we end up getting to this right here, this even just in the this year getting to 20 trillion, and then bullish case scenario is following the trend here, upper band hitting up at that 46. Even if we get to 30, or even where we're calling right now, it's still not too bad. It's still pretty damn good gains. I don't think you're going to get that anywhere else. You're not going to get that anywhere else. This is where the money is flowing. So you just have to be here before all those trillions of dollars start flying in. But thank you guys for hitting the like button. Stay hydrated. Staycom says it's a perfect storm for crypto gains. Yeah, all these things are a perfect storm for crypto gains. That's why Trump is playing the 4D chess. Let's see what Alex Jones has to say.
Stabilized much of Europe, including Ukraine, and hired the head of the NSA, the deputy. I was about to a quick court. So they may claw us into the grave with them, though, is the problem. So I'm going to say it again. The only way this fails, if the globalists are dumb enough to set off a suitcase nuke and false flag and say the Russians did it, or say the Iranians did it. And they may be crazy enough to do it. That's why we expose it, because it freaks them out. We know their plans, and I can permeate and track and calculate all their trajectories. And so there's that. And then if they can convince people to panic and go roll over and pee-pee on themselves and go, oh, the stock market's down. I don't care if the damn thing went down 90%. By the way, I've never been in the stock market. That sucker crashes. Man, I wish at this point I did have some extra money, because it's gone. Remember how the Rothschilds took over the British Empire when it was the most powerful thing in the world in the Battle of Waterloo, 1815. How'd they do that? Well, they just said that Lord Wellington lost to Napoleon, had a carrier pigeon go back to a quick Corvette across the English Channel, got there 7-8 hours for everybody, ran out, told everybody that Napoleon had won, stock market crashed over 98%, and they bought up all of it for pennies on the pound, and then they took over the British Empire, got breeding rights with the royal family, and the rest is history. So
it's pretty wild. That is very interesting. I'm glad. That's so cool that we got right into the meat of basically what I think is the 4D chess play that's happening here in America. Is that why is Warren Buffett? Why he was able to sell at the perfect top, and then now has all this cash to be able to go into the stock market now, because we have all the stock market crash. No. And it's all this fear, but guess what? There's so much money sitting on the sides right now that they're gonna buy this up. They're gonna buy the crap out of this. They're gonna buy the crap out of it. So Trump could be playing that 4D chess move just like the Rothschilds did, but it's through the modalities of the tariffs and pressure on the other countries. Because I didn't know this. I didn't know. I mean, I knew like other countries like charged us, percentage, like of obviously like they're not like one of the richest country in the world, and if you're another country that is not as rich as the United States, you're probably going to be like, well, I'm going to charge you. So we've just been throwing out money left and right, and paying all these different things and paying for other countries' stuff and tariffs that have already been on us. So we're just doing reciprocal tariffs. And then there's probably some other stuff that we're not going to claim that we know the whole, every single micro aspect of how this is happening. But it seems like what it's doing is putting countries in a position that they have to renegotiate the deals. Because the deals that were made, obviously we're not supporting and we're not for the American people, because we've just been outsourcing everything. So at a point, because it wasn't in our lifetimes that we had industry that was fully all in America and fully American based, and we didn't freaking import nothing. Like only certain things that were a necessity to America that we needed to do so, but everything else we made. And then how did that switch? Why did that change? Well, people who want to manipulate the markets and they want to make more money for themselves, and in a coordinated tactic to siphon wealth from some. How do you do it? Well, you use the American people, you use the American worker, you tax them, and then everything is outsourced. It's cheaper for you. And then who suffers? It's the people. This has been happening since the freaking 20s. And then it's also been, and then there's a point where I think where it really started to happen was in the 60s. I think that was when it was like we got fully handed off to these other countries. Like we kind of got sold a bad bag.
I mean, for freedom and to stop nuclear war, and so our children aren't being hunted by the pedo trans cult, I'd be happy to wear rags. But that's not how it works. You don't die on your feet, you live on your feet, you die on your knees. You know, that's been said by many a historian and many a statesman. Zapata always gets the quote because he said it more recently in the last 100-something years, the Mexican politician and patriot. He said it's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. Well, Alex Jones says, you live on your feet, you die on your knees. You live a lot longer on your feet than on your damn knees, sticking your head in the ground like some type of retarded creature. Our
Alex Jones is so funny.
national symbol is the American eagle, the bald eagle. It is not the home of the brave. It is understand.
Okay. You guys still with me? I've been curious about the Rumble. I haven't gone on Rumble to see if anyone has started to follow the channel yet. I don't really go on Rumble. It's like I'm so programmed to be on YouTube. I've been programmed. Oh, I have 3 followers now. Let's go. All right, I got 3 followers on Rumble. But it looks like, so I gotta figure out how to get the thumb, because it won't let me do the thumbnails because I use Restream, and with Restream, whenever I link the accounts, like I can link the accounts here, it doesn't give me an option to add the thumbnail on there. So there's got to be a way that I'd have to just like go in and I'd have to just like add all these manually. But yeah, this is the okay, so well that's good. At least like I'm getting content in Rumble. Like I'm being seen on Rumble, and who knows, maybe I'll amass like 20,000 subscribers or followers on Rumble because one of these will hit viral. That's why you just have to. That's why you have to stream to. You kind of have to just stream to everything. You can't just stream to YouTube, because then what if YouTube takes you down? That's exactly what happened to me. Or if you're just fully on X, what if X all of a sudden just decides you broke community guidelines and policies, and you're like, and then you get banned. So you always have to be on every single platform. I've kind of realized it. It's crucial. It is essential, because I've actually been banned on all of the ones that I just said. Like, I was banned on X and I've been banned on YouTube. So at a point, you have to be ready to be like, well, I guess I'm just going to stream directly to my website, because and that's what I'm actually going to start doing, because I do have the capabilities with this, and I have my own website. So you guys could even, if you want to, just start watching directly on the website if you wanted to. Like, you could just go and know, like, hey, the live will just start on danocrypto.com, and then there you go. That might be, that's going to be coming down the pipe. Decentralization, baby. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to have something, because the moment that these platforms let you go, where I would want you guys to still be able to watch the show and still do the show. Okay, so let's see what's trending on Morales Money. Let's see what's trending on Morales Money. Oh my God, is Titcoin back up again? Is Titcoin back up, like, just pumping? Oh Lord, I don't even want to discuss this right now. This, Lord of mercy. 35 mil. Man. And then how's Fartcoin doing? Is Fartcoin pumping? All we need to know is, like, if Solana starts to break out, Fartcoin's breaking out, and then that's usually, Fartcoin's been the leading indicator of if we're going to be in a bullish uptrend. Because look, Fartcoin's actually been, I don't know why, but it's really, really interesting how Fartcoin has been following the full market trend. Since Fartcoin has come out, it has followed the trend of the markets. You can see here, that was when I think in October, right here was when things were pumping. Here, Solana was pumping. We can correlate this with maybe the Solana price. So we'll go on the daily Solana, and then we'll have the daily on Fartcoin. Let's go to Sol. Here's the Sol daily. And I'm going to take this off. I'd like to save this. Add that to the favorites. I don't know why these weren't already in the favorites. Is Pepe pumping? All right, so let's look. I want to look at the daily of these areas here. So Fartcoin in October 2024, and then October. Look, yeah. So look, Solana pumping. So Solana's pumping. Oh, maybe we could just add maybe we can just find Fartcoin on here, and we'll add from Binance. We'll just, or if we can get, is that the spot Radium Solana? Yeah, that's the one we want. Yeah. No. What the heck? Okay. That's down way too much. Why is it doing that? Did I not do it right? I don't think I did this right. Hold on. And here, let's walk on new price scale, new pane. this out of here. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is a good, it's a good representation. All right. When Solana has been bullish, Fartcoin is following Solana really heavy. I think the only time that it didn't really pump hard on this particular one, because I think it was a fake pump, so it wasn't sustainable. It was like, okay, it was just a quick green and then all back down. But then right here you can see it really cranked. It kind of held strong. And then let's look at Bitcoin. Same thing. Look, Bitcoin bottomed here. Fartcoin just started going, and then it literally has just been following. It's just been following Bitcoin too. Very interesting. I find this fascinating. I find this very fascinating. We've been talking about it. It's like, it's possible that we could catch a long on Fartcoin and finally like recuperate from the losses of trading from Fartcoin, and we can tell our wife, baby, I made it all back. How did you do it? From Fartcoin. And then I don't know how our reality will change, but I think the base consensus reality will start to shift, and that the fact that I can make money off of something that's called Fartcoin or Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu, then truly my reality has been reprogrammed, and there will be no said trench, but golden rivers, spring water. I think that can all be in our future. Berdita said, never trade again, please. What? Why? Because I want a long Fartcoin? There's been a few times where if I would have actually gone into the Fartcoin trade where I was seeing something, I was like, what the heck? Because Fartcoin, like I said, when Bitcoin goes up like 1%, you end up seeing Fartcoin going up like 20%. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, what the hell is going on? And it has a lot of liquidity, too. That's what is so fascinating to this thing. And it was able to get up to a $2.3 billion market cap. What the heck? Okay, I want to be clear. I'm not shilling Fartcoin. I'm not saying, yeah, go buy some Fartcoin. It's just like, what the heck? But we love Pepe. We love Pepe. We think Pepe is gonna get to extreme heights again. We believe. You just have to believe. Pepe was at a point at an $11 billion market cap. We haven't sold a single token. We think it's going to be at a $15-20 billion market cap when ETH has its day. That's all it takes. Like I said, all those macro 3-4 macro trends that always play out is the reason why we even had these little pumps to begin with. So imagine all of them lining up. This is how you get the This is how you get the run. This is how you get the run. We're not that crazy to think it. Yeah, stock market, Dow Jones, shelving down. You can see here, just it's not looking too good. It was like, oh, tariffs, fine. European stock market looks like trash. Asian markets wasn't looking too good. But then look, all of this in the red, but then crypto's in the green. Cardano's up, Dogecoin, Solana, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin. And this is from MarketWatch. I like that they're showing these particular coins. You can see on the day, I mean, it's looking good. Crypto is holding up strong through all of this volatility, which is great to see. If you're a person who's in crypto and you're seeing this right now, you could take that as a win. I don't know. You could take it as a win. You could potentially take it as a win. All right, we're checking anything live breaking right now. Yeah, always remember, this is from my Doge. Always remember, one who controls the memes controls the universe. Do you guys remember when Elon posted this picture? I think Doge went up like 200%. I remember. All right, anything else breaking? Let's see. Yeah, so this is kind of a similar thing that I was just saying. You know, safe haven and decoupling arguments begin to have a leg to stand on as BTC manages a small gain while stocks continue to plunge on Friday. Now, it's not to say that we could not have another crypto sell-off going into the weekend, you know, because this could be, if you think about it, I mean, this could be an easy trap. You know, this would be a very easy trap for the longs. Longs could get trapped up in some of these ranges right here. We could get, you know, possible fake volume confidence to range it up between 83 and 84, get you in along on the weekend, and then you don't take any profits. They're like, cool, that guy didn't take profits. Sweet, let's smash him. And then they just bring it and they chop us in sideways into the 80s, into the low 80s going into the weekend. So we have to watch out for that because we don't want to get trapped. We have to possibly just let this weekend play out, maybe even just step away on the weekend and just let the weekend play out and not to, you know, feed into any type of FOMO trading or emotional trading and just kind of let the weekend go in and let the tariffs and the stock market and all this stuff that's been happening and lead up through the week and the tariff announcement, let the weekend go and then let this next week come into play. And then using that to then also analyze the next couple of days and see if it's going to be sideways, see where maybe, you know, just could see where there could be better entries instead of jumping in right before, you know, especially on like a Friday or going into the weekend. So let's just watch out for that. We want to watch out for a possible longs trap because obviously, you know, I think the sentiment here is I don't think people really want to short right now. I don't think that's necessarily really the case. I feel like more so people that are in crypto are bullish. They're bullish long, macro. Maybe short term, different story for, you know, scalping traders and day traders. But ultimately, we're macro bullish and we want to long. We want to get good longs. Especially in crypto. We're moon boys here. We're moon boys here. We're not bears. We only turn into bears when it's absolutely necessary. But when we're in this macro bullish trend, why be a bear? So. Just like couple percent moves with Solana. Solana gets and breaks point of control here, gets back into this range. Fartcoin literally could just go up another 36%. It does it all the time. I always see it. I'm like, how is that the first runner? So I'm watching a couple things. Here's my list of coins that I'm watching for potential entry trades. Again, is Fartcoin, Zeus, Bitcoin, Solana. I'll show you. Zeus entry already. I missed it on the bottom here. It was a great bottom, but still, even right here in this point of control, it is a great support to lead us into even the 45s again, right in this section. This is a short term, but long term, we're looking more at the support of the getting it back into the 64-cent level, and then we've seen that it topped out close to $1. So it's it looks like it's eyeing that and going from up here, looking like an uptrend from the bottom on Zeus. So man, just getting a solid entry on Zeus is we're really wanting that. We are really wanting that. We want to make sure we get actually get a good entry. And then with Bitcoin, like I said, it's possible that they could be trapping the long traders right now over the weekend. So we just gotta just see if they're gonna try and bring that price back into the 78,000 level, and then establish a double bottom at this price here. This looks a little bit like, looking at this chart right now, it actually looks pretty apparent that that's what they might do. Looking at the bottom band, they get the bottom band here, 80,007. Could smack a double bottom here at 78, and then it's off to the races from there. Because that looks like that's what they could do. They trap some of these long traders, liquidate the longs, and then they have some areas right here, 78. The weekend's gonna be tricky. This weekend, I will say, it's gonna be a little tricky. The Trump token, I'm not sure. Like, I've honestly been more interested in the Fartcoin than Trump coin, to be honest. I mean, if you're gonna go in terms of liquidity, obviously, the Trump coin has more liquidity, but it's not locked. It's not locked at all. So the moment that people want to sell and just freaking dump this damn thing, it seems like I don't look at this chart. I mean, would you look at this chart compared to Fartcoin? I mean, like, I just don't. I don't know. I'm not sold on the Trump coin as it being a viable, sustainable thing to be buying. I mean, I honestly would much rather look at Fartcoin, as funny as that sounds. And no, actually, I just want to go by price, not the market cap. We'll go by price. Go back to Trump. Go price. Terrible. It's just like dump. Team has portions of the token that are that can unlock, and then they're just they'll pump it here, and then they'll probably sell it again. So I don't trust it. To be honest, I don't trust it. Oh, this is the Orca. This is the Orca liquidity. Where's the... Oh, okay. Yeah, there's two different liquidity pools for Fartcoin. This is a I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is the one for Orca, which I think was the original liquidity. And then there's also one on Radium. So there's Orca liquidity and Radium liquidity. But the one that's actually locked, total liquidity locked is 78% and burned is 78%. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Yep, that's my analysis of the market today, guys. Thanks for popping in. We appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you check out all the links in the description. And I just wanted to give a reminder that we'll pull up the picture real quick, because we were surprised to see this. We were like, holy crap. Okay. So over the past 90 days, we've welcomed 12,774 new viewers to the channel. This is just kind of across all videos, whether it be live streams or content, old videos. And we've had new viewers, then 2,580 that are coming back, are returning viewers. So I really appreciate all the love and support. It's been really awesome. But these metrics here are interesting, because if I have 12,774 new viewers and then also returning viewers 2,580, 2,580 of you are liking the content and liking the channel, but you might not be subscribed. You might have not even thought about it, because you've just been watching. Like, my wife does it all the time. She watches these channels and she'll watch this stuff on YouTube. And I was like, oh, well, did you subscribe? She's like, oh, no. Some people are watching on the TV. They forget. They're just like, oh, just pull it up on the TV, and they don't actually go through and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, because you can still do that on your YouTube TV. You got to hit up, right, select, and that'll get you right towards the area. You can even hit the subscribe. You can do all those things on your TV still. But yeah, this is crazy. So I just imagine if all of these new viewers and also the returning viewers would hit the subscribe button. So I'm just encouraging you guys. It's completely free. It is 100% free to subscribe. And then, the other way that you can directly support the channel is, you just check out the links in the description, and there's all kinds of ways that you can be a part of the community. But yeah, this is cool. I liked the metrics. I was really happy about it. It shows that, when crypto was more of the topic of discussion, obviously in the peak of the 90 days, and it shows actually a market trend on our portfolio, because if we were to look at our portfolio actually looks exactly like this graph. 90 days ago was the peak of our portfolio, and this was all the peak of our views and interactions and all that stuff. So really interesting how it literally looks the same. So maybe once we start looking like our metrics are right there, that's when we're going to take some more. That's when we're going to take some profits. Maybe when we start seeing it go like this and peak like that, take some profits. That's going to be our metric for taking profits in the next couple months. Just look at the YouTube metrics. But thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good day. Happy trading. Stack the sats. And we'll see you on the next live stream. Peace out.